We had a call center in Louisiana during COVID. The place was empty.
They were nervous to ask for that $3,000. I asked for $8,000.
They're not respecting their time.
Like, look at a guy like Elon Musk. He's achieved excellence in the income.
My name is Ryan Stewman, and I've been throwing over-the-top events now for 14 years. Some of the biggest names in the world have been on my stages.
I remember when I first got a job for $70,000 a year salary. And I remember I texted my ex-girlfriend, I'm like, I made it.
This guy is amazing. This guy is epic. And this guy is going to tell you what it means to be legendary. Make some noise for my brother, Mr. David Price.
Hey, how's it going? We got a special guest today, Ryan Stewman. Man, this guy is absolutely amazing. Ryan Stewman is a successful entrepreneur and motivator, famous for his non-nonsense approach to business and personal development. He's the CEO and founder of multiple well-known successful startup businesses. Stewman is a bestseller author, popular public speaker, known for his straight talk and candid advice on achieving success in both business and life. He's passionate about helping others reach their full potential and overcoming obstacles to achieve their goals. Stewman is also an avid philanthropist and has donated his time and massive amount of resources to various charitable causes. Ryan, super excited to have you here, man. We got to meet, I think we just started really connecting about this time last year. So I really got to know you for about a year now. And obviously there's the social media version of somebody, but I got to meet you in person. You invited me in your house. You invited me to your ranch. I've learned a zillion things from you, and a lot of things that I knew. You helped me take it to another level, man. So super excited to have you here, man. How's everything going?
Man, everything's going great. A lot has changed for you in a year. Like if you really look back, you're like, fuck, man, what a whole 180, a lot has changed for you, man. So congratulations on all of that. I had forgot you'd been out to the ranch with me, and it's a good time out there,
Yeah, get some work in. So that was really good. I wish I had better shoes. That's next thing to bring better shoes. But yeah, it was definitely a good time.
My favorite's when people show up in athletic gear, they're thinking old clothes, like old gym clothes, and then they get out there and it's like, bro, these sticker bushes are gonna fuck your Nikes up, man. So
yeah, absolutely. I was flying and I like to have a carry on. And so I was trying to figure out all right, cool, what shoes could I bring that I'm just gonna leave? That's what I did. The shoes stayed in Texas. They didn't come. So that's all. I was just so I had some Hey Dudes or something like that. But yeah, probably could have used some better shoes. So
yeah, that's what I do. I wear one shoes there, and then when I get there, I switch into my dirty ass work boots that are there. So same thing kids do.
It's nice when it's your ranch, man. So I know you don't like talking about politics much, just joking. But do you still need the ranch now? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I bought that ranch for a couple of reasons. One, in case the world ends and shit went sideways, then I had a place with lakes full of fish and wildlife like deer and things of that nature, and then also cattle. And but the other thing is I really need that place. It's honestly because it's a ranch and it's one of the most expensive bills that I have, because it's a working ranch and it's weird how the money works on that stuff, but it's one of the most expensive bills I have. But it's the single best mental investment I've ever made in myself, in being able to work all week in the city, high pressure, high stress, high anxiety, and then be able to get out there with the kids and fucking leave my phone in the truck because I don't give a shit when I'm out there, and I used to take a lot of stories and stuff from being out there on the weekends and stuff. Now I don't even carry my phone or even listen to the radio usually. And, the pictures that you do see of me out there or videos somebody else made while we were out there and sent to me, I've just made that my own little world. And it's been a great investment for my mental health. some people, they'll wake up in the morning and they'll do grounding or lay out in the sun to, but man, just something about get covered in dirt and mud and lake water and river water and all that. It's the same thing, but like 10x the effect for me,
Yeah, no, I definitely see it. You actually had me on Zillow looking for something similar in Puerto Rico. I found this huge. I think I sent you. Yeah, I think I sent you like the big coffee farm property. So still a little bit out of my budget for a ranch. I think it was like $15 million or something.
Yeah, shit's expensive in Puerto Rico. They're going to make up for that tax break you guys get, but plus there's very little land there.
Exactly, supply and demand.
There was a guy that went to the ranch with me Sunday, and he lives in Malta, which is like the most condensed country in the world. And shit, they don't even have 400 acres of open land in Malta, So he's like, "Holy shit, dude, this is crazy. This is like the size of my city," So it's having a good time there. But that's been one of those things, David, that I'm at this point, man, where I've done almost everything in real estate. I've got a working ranch. I have a very large commercial building. I've got apartment complexes, single family homes, primary residence, secondary residence. The only thing that I haven't done is buy like a high rise. And the reason and there's all sorts of different commercial shit I could get into, but really the other thing is like a high rise, and those ain't worth the fuck, because I've got a guy that's a custodian. He owns janitorial services, and he said that like 70% of the buildings downtown are 60% or more empty in downtown Dallas. So, obviously working from home is not filling up high rises these days. So, I feel like, that ranch is another thing that I've been able to check off. I've kind of done almost everything in real estate at this point, in one form or another.
Yeah, I was in a high rise in Dallas actually. And the company I was with, they had 15 floors, and they said that during COVID the place was empty. So they were able to get in there, remodel it, and then I think they have like the right of purchase where they could get another floor if they need to, so they could expand, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful building, everything was beautiful, but just imagine having a 30-story building that's empty. So definitely.
Same with me. We've got 22,000 square feet, and probably 6 of us work there. Everybody else works from home.
Oh, wow.
If I wasn't throwing events like we had last week for a couple hundred people, it wouldn't make any sense to even own the building anymore. Before, I didn't have a way to really work with people remotely, but in this day and age, you just got to figure that shit out. So you just got to figure out how to make the remote stuff work. Obviously, you do that in your business in a major way too. So,
yeah, we had a call center in Louisiana, and it was I think 2,200 square foot, but it was all cubicles, right? So we had like 30, 40 cubicles, and it just didn't make sense, right? It just didn't make sense, especially now. I think the culture changed a lot, right? It's like so hard to like get someone to like sit in that seat and work. And then when they're contractors and they're, paid per sale versus hourly, it's a whole nother dynamic. So yeah, even now I have so many people that reach out to me like, "David, I want to start a call center. My first question is like, okay, why? Like, why do you think that's what you want? Like, why do you think having a building that you're stuck to, that you got to make sure people show up to every single day, is better than a simple Zoom meeting? When you could, and then the talent pool, right? So like, when you hire virtual, you could hire from all over the world. Yep. Versus, obviously you're in Dallas, so Dallas isn't that big, but like Louisiana, I was like in Lafayette, Louisiana, right? So like there was a very small talent pool compared to like Dallas or Houston or New York or a big city. But yeah, it completely changed my mind. So I'm the guy that talks people out of starting a call center. It makes zero sense to me at this point.
Well, you can have virtual call centers too, and what I mean by that is you have a network of people that work from home and take calls from home. So that's totally, you can have a call center, and it doesn't have to be all centrally located with people in person there. Yeah. I think most people, not everybody, but and you give me your feedback on this too, your thoughts. But I'm of the opinion that most people, they're probably more productive at home. because they can, like literally get out of bed, make breakfast, go to their computer. If they need to take a break and handle something in the house, it's not in the back of their head all day. They can go handle that and then come back and go to work. I feel like people are probably pretty comfortable and productive in their own domain.
Yeah, I am. I've been working from home since 2019. I think 2019. I've been working from home. I was selling insurance out in the field face to face, and then I got to a point where I was just mentoring and recruiting. I didn't have time. Like I was driving circles around houses with like leads, but all my agents were calling me, and I'm on the phone. And 2 weeks straight happened of me just driving circles around houses that happened to be an hour and a half from my house. And I'm like, all right, this isn't working anymore. And then I just switched to put a desk in my house and just start working from there. And yeah, because Sunday, I wake up like 4:30 on a Sunday. I'm like, all right, let me get some work done, right? Like there's nothing else to do except for work at 4:30. Or, if you have the ranch, you go ranching, right? But for me, yeah, I wake up early and then work till 8 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm done. So yeah, I'm way more productive. And I think most people are. We have a virtual call center. We just rebuilt, starting all over from scratch. But we have between 20 and 30 people on right now as we speak. And they'll last night, I think the last 2 people got off about 9:30 at night Eastern time. They both made a sale. They both made a sale like at 9:30 and like finished the sale at like 9:30 and then closed the place down. And then we're back rolling again at 8 o'clock in the morning. Have a meeting, jump off meeting at 9 o'clock and get everyone excited. And then that's it. Get some work done, make some money, help some families.
Yep, absolutely. One thing that you said before we officially went live here is you were like, I had a number of agents that I recruited, and then a smaller, very much smaller number, about 10% of them actually, in a given month do the work. Why do you think, like I was just thinking back when you were talking, it's like when I was in the mortgage business and I worked from home, this is 2005, 2006, man, I was busy as shit taking applications all day. Then I would go to the office. There were people who worked in the office and they ain't do shit all day. I don't know what the fuck they did, but they weren't taking applications and shit like I was, right? But they were like, I won't say that, but they seemed okay with closing a deal a month or a deal every couple of months or whatever. Why do you think some people are okay with that? I understand if it's a side hustle, right? Like, but mortgages is obviously not a side hustle. It's a fucking hard job. And everybody there's full-time deal. Maybe your insurance is a little bit different, but what do you think it is that lets somebody be like, I closed the deal and made $5,000. I can stretch this for 4 months or whatever the fuck they do, right? So what keeps them from going back to the well and being like, I'll make another $5,000?
It's funny. I used to ask the question when I used to interview people, and I'd be like, hey, Ron, if you can make $1,000 an hour, how many hours would you work? And I asked this girl that one day, and she's like, well, like 2 or 3. I was like, okay, interview over, right? Like I don't understand. I don't know how that mind works. I guess their priorities are different or what they want, or like for me, like I want to work now, so I don't want later on I could do what the heck I want, right? And obviously, even hanging out with you, like I think I work hard hanging out with you. I'm like, dude, how does this guy handle all these people? As like I think about how many DMs I get, and I'm like, you must get so many more DMs. So like every time you answer DMs and stuff, I'm like, man, because that's all like mental work, right? It's coming out. But I think some people just don't believe. I think they don't believe on what they can accomplish, right? They have like this, like, the law of the lid, and they don't believe, because even when you say like this side hustle, I talk to a lot of those people too, and they're like, yeah, could I do this part-time? So my first question is, cool, so what are you doing full-time? Right? And it might be a job making them $600 a week. I'm like, dude, you could do that selling one policy. Like, don't you think maybe you should take that energy and move it over? Right? Like, do you want to go to work for $10 an hour, or do you want to go to work for $50 an hour? Like which one do you want to put your energy in? But I think like people, even me, like, so my first commission job was actually repoing cars in like 2013-ish, something like that. That was my first, and I was scared. I was like, dude, am I going to make money? I asked the person who was hiring me a zillion questions. Like, do you ever not find a car in a week?
You drove
a repo truck and tow people's cars that didn't pay their note.
Have you ever seen him on Instagram? Even you see him on Instagram? Hang on. Like I'm gonna look his name up. I follow him on there. He's like a professional repo guy, and he'd be backing his truck up, pulling these fucking cars out of the craziest places. People chasing them.
I was in New Orleans, Baton Rouge. It was in Louisiana. But like I was in my mid 30s. Like before that, I was working for salary and hourly. Like I wish I knew better.
This guy,
okay. I'll check him out for sure. But yeah, like I wish like when I was 18, I wish I stumbled on one of your two YouTube videos, you know, when I was 18 years old or something. I'm like, oh, look at this guy. This guy makes sense. Like literally, like knowing what I know now, I would have reached out to him like, listen, Ryan, can I work for you for free? I'll do whatever you want until you don't want me to do it anymore. Right. And like, that's how people's mentality should be. I mean, there's so much to learn from you. And you know, there's so many people like I remember when people were on Facebook, I'm like, I'm not going to get on Facebook. Like that's I was one of the last, you know, like I'm not getting on Facebook. Like, and then if you look at my, my Twitter account, I started working on X and try to build that. And like, I think it was like 2013 or something. Like I had that account forever. I have like 500 followers, right? Again, like just not understanding, like just not knowing better, just not knowing like how powerful social media is, right? Which is something
popping right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Like, and not knowing like what we get accomplished. Like I remember when I first got a job for $70,000 a year salary. And I remember I texted my ex-girlfriend. I'm like, I made it. Trying to show off for her. Like I made it. I'm making 70 grand a year, right? And like
that's the next level. You know what I mean? Like for where you were in life, that was the next level. So you did make it. You know what I mean? Like bitch, you thought I was gonna be a bum. I'm making 6 figures. You know, 70% of the way to 6 figures, bitch. So, you know, I watch people. You've seen this too in your business and just in life in general. The people that make like 100 to 150 grand have like an ego 10 times the size of the people that make, you know, 500 plus a year, you know, that have for a couple years anyway, you know, and because, you know, when you first get that 6 figures, you know, or close to it, you're like, fucking, I made it, you know? Yeah. So I remember making, I don't know if I ever made 70 in a year, but I've had years where I made 30 and then went to like 99. You know, so I kind of skipped the middle part.
Spent it all on drugs anyway, so it might as well have been 30. So that was during my active addiction. So I didn't.
I like that you said the rule of the lid or whatever you called it.
The law of the lid.
Law of the lid, and you know, I think that plays a lot too. You know, I think a lot of people spend a lot of time patting themselves on the back. Celebrating metaphorically, of course, but mentally celebrating and patting themselves on the back as opposed to getting back to the work, because it's so much easier to feel good about what you've accomplished, no matter how long ago it was, than it is to go back out there and chase those demons and try to accomplish that again. You know, I think, you know, I would watch guys in the car business and you know, they would sell one car like 9, 10 in the morning and they feel like they've done their job for the day. They're just hanging out. And like, bro, you're still here. Like, you're not home with your family and shit. Why are you not trying to sell another car? Like, why not sell 2 today? You're going to be here anyway. And you got lucky enough to get one out early. Maybe you can get one out late too, you know? And, but most people, they'll be like, oh man, I already got one out today. I ain't worried about all that shit. That's how a lot of people are, you know?
So it's funny, right? Because they're not respecting their time.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they don't realize, like how, like to me, like if like time's passing, like I need to make the best of it. Right. And I think that is like that next level thinking that gets you to, you know, 7-figure or 1%. It's just like understanding time. Cause I do that all the time. Like we'll have agents, you know, on our virtual call room, just staring. I'm like, dude, you're here. Like call some leads. Well, I don't know what to say. You're not going to know what to say until you start calling. Like just let's get you in action, you know?
I got this company I'm training right now, and they have like the coolest product. It's they're in the real estate business, and they allow real estate agents to partner with them, and then they send their clients to the real estate agent. So they have clients that need to buy and sell homes in every market. And then they get a real estate agent to become their preferred real estate agent, and they send that agent business, right? and they're in every market and stuff. And it's only like $3,000 or $4,000 to get the agent signed up. But then when they close 2 deals, they give them the $4,000 back. So it's like a no-brainer offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they really just need somebody they can trust that can service their clients. And so anyway, they've got a sales team selling this stuff. And they're all very nervous to ask. They're younger people. They're all very nervous to ask for $3,000, right? Like to them, that's a significant amount of money. To a business owner, to a real estate agent, it's like, it's a closing on $100,000 property. It's super cheap, right? And so, yesterday I'm doing a training for them, and I'm doing the role play with these guys, right? And they're a little nervous because it's me and I'm being the client that's shopping them and everything else. And at the end, I had them role play me. And while the people that were doing the role play, and it's a good lesson on this subject here, the people doing the role play, they were nervous to ask for that $3,000, right? When I got in there, I asked for $8,000 because why wouldn't I try to sell them more than one zip code? You know what I mean? Like
right.
That's just how I think. Like everybody's face on that Zoom when I hit them for $8,000, they were like, "Oh shit, I didn't know you could do that. I never thought about selling them more than once." And I explained to them, it's like, you guys will make a sale or make $3,000 and get complacent. I'm going to try. If the person was pretending like they were a very good real estate salesperson, like, if this person has money, why wouldn't they invest it? It's only more deals coming their way anyway. But I think a lot of people miss that. They think, oh, the $3,000 is enough, where guys like me and you will come in and be like, look, dude, $8,000, I got you, right? Like, hey, let's load you up and make you super successful, So, I struggle with that too with my closer capital people. It's kind of similar to your insurance business. The folks come in, they sign up with us, then they can broker loans through us. And we'll have people that sign up and then you never hear from them again. Then we'll have some people sign up and they're doing 2-3 deals a week. And then, some people, when they bring you a deal, it has to close because it's some kind of emergency.
Yeah.
So, it's like, man, we just it's hard to get everybody on the same page. It really is. But like you said, can't control them because they're 1099 and they kind of do their own thing. And if I start controlling them, I got to pay payroll taxes on them and shit. And I don't want to do that. So, it's a weird scenario trying to manage a loose group of like entrepreneurs for a company,
Yeah, I have a coupon code to get your insurance course, and it's $39 to get started. $39. So I have, an adult, right, reach out to a job posting or something and say, yeah, I'm interested. And I'm like, all right, you have to get your insurance license. And like, how much does that cost? It's like, total might be about $300. But the first step is for the course. And with my coupon code, it's normally $200, but it'll be like $39. Oh man, I don't have that. Like, you would be blown away of how many times I hear that.
No, because my software company, I see credit cards bounce for $20 all the time.
Yeah. I understand like the not having the money. Yeah. But I also remember being like a kid walking around the neighborhood as a teenager and seeing a dirt bike for sale for $600 and being like, I want that. I'm going to get that. And just like trying to figure out how to get the money for it. Yeah. Like, not like, oh my God, I don't have $600. Like, there's $0 to my name, a teenager. And I remember like, handing out flyer, like doing all these things to try to get money together for so like to have like that thought process of like, oh, $40, that's the barrier of entry is way too high. It's just not meant for me. I can't figure out how to come up with like that. You got the guy at the corner, right? Collecting dollars and quarters from the traffic, collecting more than that in a day. So,
well, I talk to people a lot, David, and I hear I don't have money a lot, just like everybody else in sales. I can't afford that. I don't have that much, whatever, right? And man, it'll be somebody 35 years old. And at this point, cool, they can't buy it. They don't have the money. I get it. But I always point out to them, it's like, how old are you? 35. Okay, great, man. How long have you been working? Right? Well, I've been in the job force since I was 18. Okay, cool. So that is 17 years, right, that you've been in the job force. And in 17 years, you weren't able to put back, so let's say it's $3,000 divided by 17 times, 17 times 365 equals 6205. So you weren't able to put back 48 cents a day to get you to 3,000. I mean, you couldn't have saved 50 cents a day to have a few $1,000s in your bank account. You know, and what most people's problem is it's not that they don't make money, it's that they're terrible with it. You know, somebody will tell you they don't have money that pulled up in a Benz with a Rolex on. You know what I mean? Like it's just the craziest shit. It's like, you know, bro, you could have been rich, but instead you have a car and a watch.
I remember I quit smoking I woke up one day, I was so broke, I needed a pack of cigarettes, and I'm like, dude, I can't really even afford these. Like I just need to stop. Like I just need to change my priority and stop smoking, right? But it's crazy because Tony Robbins talks about that. Like whatever your standards are, you know. So my standard is to get a pack of cigarettes a day, a 6-pack on Friday, and have nothing else after that. But they make sure those things get done.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, a smoker be broke as hell ain't gonna miss a cigarette.
Yeah, not gonna miss a cigarette. Yeah, I'm guilty, super guilty. Like you said, things change. You know, I joined Apex Executives a year ago. Almost a year ago. I think December is when I started, right? And it's just when you hang around people, you know. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, actually, my friend at the gym. And I was talking about, I was like, there's like a couple things with a mastermind. Like you have like the curriculum, right? So like Apex, right? There's the curriculum. There's all the videos that you give us. There's all the trainings weekly. There's the meetups. There's all those things. But sometimes the biggest value in it is the people.
I agree.
Right. It's the people that I've been able to connect with because of you. Right. And it's like, I remember when I joined, it was towards the end of the year. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what am I going to do to get myself uncomfortable come the new year? Like that's what it was. Like I had to find something because if I keep doing if I do the same thing, I just get the same results. Like I figured that out a few years ago. So I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? And then Taylor, got in my DMs and did the great job that he does. And I was like, yeah, okay. I think it was like a real fast call. Like he called me up or whatever. He told me this is this and this. I was like, all right, cool. Let me just like call a couple people. I'm sure I know someone that's part of Apex and give me a couple of days or something. I talked to some person. I texted them. I was like, all right, let's rock, and right into, your executives program, which it's been amazing. It's been amazing. The first month paid for itself, which was super cool. But like, I wish it was like, I wish I could teach that mindset to like everyone I come across. Like, stop doing the same thing. Like, are you happy with where you're at? No, I'm not. Stop doing the same thing. Like, what have you done differently? Like, I tell people, like, my circle of people, like, it's like, how do I get around more people? Like, how do I hang out with Ryan Stewman, right? How do I hang out with Ed Milet? How do I hang out with Tony Robbins? Like, how do I like make these people my friends, right? And you got to figure out how to, get around them, put value in their life. But like, to me, it's like, I want to build like the all-star like circle, right? Of just the best people. And then the people that aren't, right, you let them go to make room for some good people. So yeah, Apex been definitely been a blessing. So thank you for that. I don't know if I ever give you your official thank you for it. So I definitely appreciate that. So still got a lot to learn. So that's been awesome. Super cool. There's a lot of like, throughout the years, I learned a lot about social media and I use a lot about building my business, or a lot of social media built my business. But what I like about what you do is you have action items. You have like a clear process on how you do everything. So I definitely like that because like, so sometimes it's easy to do things, but like to teach it, right? And like for me, I'm in the teaching business, right? I need people to duplicate what I'm doing. So you make that really, really simple. And then the other thing is the G code I want to talk about a little bit. You mind telling us about the G code and how that started?
Yeah, man, it would honestly be my pleasure. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm so habitually used to it. I forget about it. You know what I mean? But it's a huge gift for your listeners. So I have this theory, David, and you probably know this story, but I'm gonna tell you again anyway, that when this planet was created, there was an algorithm instilled into this planet, much like when they coded Facebook, they had to figure out some sort of algorithm that gets what post in whose newsfeed, right? So the earth has to work this way too. There's a reaping season, a sowing season, winter, spring, fall. There's an algorithm that runs this planet. And I call that algorithm the force of average. And, you know, if you think about it, half a year, a tree is dead. Half a year, it's alive with green leaves. You know, half a year, it's cold. Half a year, it's warm. Hot. It averages out, right? Like everything on this planet seems to average and balance itself out, right? Well, I believe the same thing works in our lives. And a lot of us, we have experienced this where, you know, you have a month where you made a whole bunch of money on your job, and then the next 2 months sucked balls for whatever reason, because, you know, you were like top producer 1 month and then bottom producer 2 months in a row, or maybe you've found the man or woman of your dreams and then you got drunk one night and fucked their ugly friend, you know, and like we all have, anytime we're getting great, right? We're top producer, we found love, we're connecting spirituality. Like anytime that we are chasing greatness, the force of average, it will create a gravitational force against us to take that greatness away and return us to average. Now, if you live below average on this planet, if you're homeless, like we discussed earlier, people just drop money in your cup, right? That's the force of average bumping you up. You can go live for free in a homeless shelter. You might even get $13,000 in a hotel in New York if you're lucky, you know? And then here's what this planet tries to do. It tries to trap most people at average. And it's average to their surroundings. So average in America is different than average in Zimbabwe. But if you look, the average is the average of the people that they're around. And in America, that average is get somebody into a job with health insurance, retirement benefits, maybe stock options, an expensive car note, a house they can barely afford, kids that they've got to pay to feed and go to school, and they'll stay right there because now they're trapped in average and they can't afford to take the risk of losing it all to go chase greatness. And we see people that are settled in their Honda Accords going to and from work to work 10-hour days with their Kohl's clothes on a regular basis on the freeway. And look, if that's you, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying and it's not a fashion thing. It's a look. You know how liberals, they kind of all look the same, like the far left, right? The people that have fallen victim to the force of average, they kind of look the same too, you know? And so for me, I've had this life of meteoric highs and rock bottom lows. You know, I've been adopted, I've been a drug dealer, I've been to prison, then I became a millionaire, then I went back to prison, then I got married, then I got divorced, and then I made money again, I fucking lost it again, had to go I've ran these like crazy roller coasters of highs and lows. And about 2017, I'm like, man, I'm going through a low point in my life, you know? And it was one of those times where it's like, man, I think if I take one more punch, it might knock me the fuck out. You know, like life was really beating me like that. I had some problems with, it was the first time in my career where employees had left to go start a company. So I had never experienced that. And they had taken some of our clients with them. And I'd never experienced, like, I felt betrayed because I was putting emotions in business. I felt betrayed. I'm going, and my business is going down because I'm losing clients. And these guys started a new business. And I'm like, man, what the fuck, right? And I asked myself, I said, man, I'm not going to let this shit slip away again. I done lost it and got it back too many times. I'm not going to fucking lose it again. How do I what can I do to continue chasing greatness and not have this rug swept out from under me yet again in my life? I'm so fucking tired of that. Now, I went on this, I like to tell you, I went on this like spiritual journey and took time off of work, but I'm not that fucking rich. Like, I don't know how people do that shit, right? They're like, well, I took 6 months off of work. Like, who paid your bills? Right? Like, you took I ain't able to take 6 days off of work, and I'm a fucking multimillionaire. How the fuck you take 6 months off of work, right? Anyway, so, you know, I just started really being intentional about it, watching YouTube videos, reading books, trying to figure out not the meaning of life, but how to get in the right mindset. And so after about a year of studying, I came to the conclusion that this force of average algorithm is designed to keep us average, but we have greatness within us. If God made us in his image, he didn't say, well, this looks average just like me. He said, this is greatness. This is magnificence. This is endless possibilities in my image manifested in human form. And we take that for granted and we just try to survive, but that's not why God put us here. And that's not why God gives us amazing ideas that 99.9% of people don't take action on, right? He's like, I've made you magnificent. I'm giving you the right ideas, but you're choosing the other path. And so I started thinking, okay, well, man, shit, I keep choosing the other path. So what do I need to do? So I come to the realization that God's not going to create us and then have this planet that he created with an algorithm and us not have some sort of cheat code to be able to navigate that algorithm. And cheat code is not the right word, but some sort of superpower to be able to navigate and beat that force of average if we really want to. That desire is in us. We have the ability to do that. So I realized that superpower is focus. And people don't understand the word focus in the sense that I'm about to explain it. It's a very big concept. And I try to make it simple, but focus isn't about like vision or your eyes or whatever. Focus to me means seeing something in your mind and then working to make that possible. Like, think about it, like when if you've ever written a book or a blog post or something like that, you're in the zone, dude. You're not focused on nothing else. You're just cranking fucking words out, right? So when you're on a sales call, sometimes you're just in the zone saying the right words, dude, and you feel it because you're so focused on closing that sale. When you were focused on closing that lady and taking her home with you, you were so in the zone, you didn't even hear what song was playing. You're like, when we get focused on something, it becomes real. And one of the things that's created inside of our brain is called the reticular activating system. And what this is that's a fancy medical term for the focus mechanism. That would be like the carburetor for focus, right? And so when we in the way that it works is when we decide to, when we dial that reticular activating system, when we dial our RAS in on what we want to focus on, right? So like I call it like the red Jeep theory. You go to the dealership, you buy a red Jeep, you never see red Jeeps anywhere. Immediately you pull off onto the freeway, there's 15 red Jeeps parked right in front of you. They were there all along, but your RAS wasn't tuned into the red Jeep until you owned it. Now you're focused on it. You see them everywhere. I bought my first McLaren in like 2017, maybe 2016. And I'd never seen one on the road, but like a week or two after I bought it, I realized my neighbor had one, right? And he had it for like 2 years, but I wasn't focused on it until I had my own, right? And so we got to learn to turn our RAS and dial it into what matters that will allow us to beat the force of average. And that's the G code, which is the code to greatness, right? And so I believe that if we'll tune our RAS system into 4 things daily, and we focus on these 4 things, we're going to win. Number 1 is a grateful mindset, because gratitude is the precursor to abundance. Everybody says, oh, you got to think abundantly. Well, before you can do that, you got to have gratitude. So let's take this granularly down and maybe every day 5 things that you're grateful for that you write down, and really like not meditate on, but really like take a second to truly have some appreciation for them, even the struggle most days. The second thing is your genetics, right? Like if we're going to be above average and we're going to beat the force of average, we got to work out, diet, and exercise. So that's gym, diet, 3 is your goals, right? We have financial goals, we have body weight goals, we have all the whatever goals that a person has. So we got to break those goals down. You want to make $1 million a year? That's bullshit. You need to make $3,000 a day. Right? That's the key. And so you break that goal down to a daily goal, and you're making those daily wins on that goal. And then the fourth and probably the most important of the 4 G's in the G code is the group of people you spend your time with. And, every day I try to invest in somebody. Right now I'm investing in you, my friend, David, and tonight is date night. So I'll spend some time with my wife for date night as well, because we do that every Wednesday. And, so every day I'm like, who did I put some time into? Who did I give my focus and time and attention to for a period of time today? And if I can focus on my people, my income, and my goals, my genetics and the way that my health operates, and then my mindset by having the precursor to abundantly thinking, which is showing gratitude even when it doesn't feel good to be grateful for shit. If I can focus on those 4 things daily, then I know the numbers I need to hit. I know the amount of exercise and stuff diet that I need to stick to. I know the people I need to invest in, and I know how to have the right mindset. And if I'll focus on that stuff every single day, I'll beat the force of average more days than not. It won't stop attacking you. There's not a point of greatness to where, like, look at a guy like Elon Musk. He's achieved excellence in the income aspect of life, but half the people in the government hate him and half the people in the country hate him. And I like him personally. I hate Teslas because they're always in the fucking way here where I live. You know what I mean? So I'm not a fan of his company, but I like him personally. And so, you know, you're always going to be fighting the force of average. A company like Apple gets huge. What happens? Force of average says, hey, you have a monopoly. You got to break it up. So on and so forth. So it never stops. So we chase greatness every day, 4 points at a time until the day we die. We should be the greatest version of ourselves the day that we pass away, no matter what comes our way. And so if you want to track that, I created a little website app that you can track those 4 points a day, write down the 5 things you're grateful for, mark off that you exercise and stuck to a diet, put your goals in there. Super easy. It's free. You can go to dailygcode.com. So dailygcode.com and you get signed up there. And like, dude, you can get 4 points a day on this. I've been doing it for 1,952 days on the software. Before this, I wrote it down on a Evernote. But I've got 6,728 points at 4 points a day. So I've been real damn consistent on here. So,
you know, everything he says makes perfect sense. I love how simple you make it. And what I think people miss a lot of times is like doing those small, simple things consistently over time is really the magic pill everyone's looking for.
It's life is like a game of golf, man. If you swing hard, it's just going to take you longer to get back to where you were trying to get to in the first place. You're going to shank it right, shank it left. You're going to have to go look in the woods and all that work. If you'd have just hit it a little bit lighter, it went right down the green. And everybody's looking for these big swings. I'm going to get a hole in one. I'm going to get a hole in one. Like, first of all, motherfucker, you need to hit it off the tee. Straight down the fucking, like, that's the first step, right? Like, hole in one is a pie in the sky dream. Let's keep it at par. Let's shoot for a birdie. You know what I mean? And that's what the G code is. It's those strokes down to get into that goal at the end of the day, every single day, you know, and we're looking at 4 things. It's an awful lot like a par 4. You know what I mean? We're looking at 4 swings every day: mindset, genetics, your goals, and the group of people that you're with. Boom, every single day, right? But what happens is it's much like going to the gym. I see people in the gym all the time that just get started. First day sucks for them. First week sucks for them. First month sucks for them. Then they're in the routine, right? And then seeing improvements. Then maybe you've been on an off schedule with them for a month or so. You see them a month later, like, damn, homeboy's losing some weight over there, looking good. You know, it's the same thing with these things. You look up and one day, 2-3 months down the road, you're like, been doing the G code every single day. And you're like, oh shit, I got some money in my bank account. Damn, I lost 10 pounds. Oh, fuck, man. My marriage is a little bit better. Oh, I've been making sure I spent extra time with my kids and put them in my G code app every day. This shit's working, right? Because it's not everybody wants some, like, you know, hocus pocus, snap a finger and shit changes. But that's not how this planet works. Everything takes time and repetition and practice on this planet. Anything that's going to be somewhat excellent or ultimately just improved is going to take time to improve. It's not going to be instantly improved. It's going to take action. And you know, you want to improve your body, it's going to take time. It's going to take action. You want to improve your bank account, it's going to take time. It's going to take action. You want to improve your relationships, especially if they're bad, it's going to take time. It's going to take action. But those actions repeated over time, you look up and like, shit, you know. And again, that's how I'm a very natural, supernatural correlation, like how things work in the spirit world is really the same as they work here. So if you can find the correlation between here and there, you can kind of figure things out. And like everything especially me being a rancher, right? But like everything in the natural, it really works in how we carry ourselves too, right? Like over time, a creek turns into a river, a pond turns into a lake, because it's slowly eroding that dirt away, right? Like anything that's going to get bigger or be improved takes time. And so many people don't understand that concept because they're in a hurry, because they have wasted time. You see, the reason why someone will be in a hurry is because they didn't preserve time properly, and now they need to make up time, as opposed to getting ahead of time and following something like the G code for a long period of time. Now you got time on your side, as opposed to always fighting against it and being in a hurry for something.
Absolutely. Yeah. The gratitude part too. Like, so that's something I've always, something that was taught to me maybe about 10 years ago. And it's just, when people come to me like, hey, I'm not this or that or this, I'm like, hold on a second. Give me 3 things you're grateful for, right? And then I like remind them, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me remember, where were you last year at this time, right?
Yeah.
I was just on a call with someone earlier. I was like, weren't you like working for $500 a week? Not that long ago, and now you're making $1,000 a day. So yeah, I think so fast. I do too. Like even me, like I was just thinking, because I just tore my business down to start all over again so I could do it my way. And I'm like 40 days in, and I'm like, the other day I'm like stressing out. I'm like, hold on a second. I'm crushing it for 40 days in.
Fucking hard. You have like 150 agents or some shit already, don't you?
Yeah. We've submitted $400,000 or $500,000 in business already. Like, like insane numbers that no one does legally and ethically. They were even looking at us like, okay, cool. Are they even doing this like the way they're supposed to be doing it because of the numbers that we have? But again, like it's so easy to get out of gratitude and be like, oh, I used to be here. I used to be here or and the funny thing is too, I think you're the same way as me, is like the fun part's actually the building part. Right. So like you said, you lost everything multiple times. I've lost everything. I've never, I never lost millions. This was my first time stepping away from a 7-figure income. But yeah, like having more fun than ever, in the rebuilding process.
Because you're building it your way. But the thing about gratitude is most people, they don't take it seriously like I do with the G code. So you're right. What happens is a year from now, their lives drastically change, and they don't take a minute to be grateful for you, the company, the opportunity, how much better their life is. And what happens is if you're not grateful, the ego kicks in, and the ego says, I deserve this. I worked for this. I made this, right? And then guess what happens, right? Once the ego kicks in, it's like a virus, man. It'll overtake that gratitude quickly. And then I watch salespeople, like probably the guy you're talking about or gal you're talking about, make the most stupid, foolish decisions of their lives because the gratitude gets eaten up and swallowed by the ego, and they quit their job, or they make they make demands that can't be met, or one day they throw a temper tantrum and they think that they're so valuable everywhere else, and they get to learn a very humbling lesson, because gratitude eventually will take back fucking over, because 99% of the people that let ego overtake gratitude and think they're just going to go get another job and be pampered somewhere else find out that where they should have been way more grateful for in the first damn place, right? Which is a hard lesson to find out. You're like, yeah, this place sucked. And then you go to their competitor and you're like, oh, fuck, dude, that place was awesome, right? And that's what happens over it. If you don't focus on gratitude daily, then that ego will overrun. And a guy that made $500 a week's now making $1,000 a day, and he's not grateful because he hasn't focused on that, and he has this view skewed that he hasn't considered how fucking far he's come in 12 months. And if he's not careful, he'll run that because he thinks he deserves it somewhere else because of what he did here. And the new company doesn't owe you shit for what you did for the old company, right? Like people will come and I'm sure they do this to you too. They're like, well, at the last company that I worked for, I did this, that, and the other. It's like, that's great, man. Then when they come work for me, they don't do none of that shit. And I was like, I don't give a fuck what you did for XYZ company. You're not doing it here. So it's not, you're not going to get any special treatment until that fucking happens here that you claim that you did that,
Yeah. So you talked about, tonight's date night, and one thing I definitely admire about you a lot is how your work-life balance, how I feel like you're you're an amazing entrepreneur, you're an amazing leader, you built like an amazing culture, but you're also an amazing husband, an amazing father. And I don't know how the heck you do it. I'm really good at the work part and stuff like that, but I know I fall short sometimes on like the personal relationship part and relationship parts and stuff like that. So what is your trick to it? Can you speak about it a little bit? Like how are you able to, at least from the outside, it looks like you do an amazing job with it.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing I do well, it's husbanding and fathering, like the business stuff, I can hit or miss, to be honest with you, but the household stuff, I'm very good at it because I treat them one and the same, but I can't really control my employees like I can my kids. You know what I mean? It's a little easier for me at home. But, Amy and I, we met at a time when I didn't want to fall in love and I didn't want to get I wanted to fall in love, but I didn't want to get remarried because I've been divorced and I've been through all that shit before. And Amy's a really good salesperson. So eventually we ended up getting married, and I still had this feeling of, well, this chick could leave me at any moment, right? Like, she's pretty, she's from private school. She's, comes from a family that's got decent money. She doesn't, she's going to leave me at any point, right? At some point, she's going to figure out that I'm who I am, and she's going to be like, oh my God, what have I done? And leave. I always really felt that way, And about 2019, so we got married in 2017. About 2019, we had been in church for a couple of years together at that point. We'd always kind of gone to church, but we've been very serious and routine about church. And I thought, okay, look, I got this lady's been with me for 5 years at this point in 2019. And, I always feel like she could leave and everything else, but 5 years is a long relationship, obviously. And what if I just submit and accept her unconditional love? What if it truly is unconditional love and I just submit and accept that? And man, that changed my life, because I allowed myself as a man that had been divorced to really feel love that like I get from my kids. My kids, they're not going to run away from home or leave or whatever. I know that's unconditional love between me and them. And, nothing they could do, really, I wouldn't at least try to help them in the situation, and I feel that same for my wife, but I didn't feel it for a while because I had this fence up, right? So before we got married, though, we made some very smart moves. We did a prenup, but it wasn't about money as much as it was about how we were going to do our marriage, how we were going to raise the kids, what schools they were going to go to, how we were going to stay in shape, how we were going to exercise, date night once a week, vacation once a quarter. Like, we wrote this whole thing out and had it notarized and took it to the attorneys and all that stuff. And it was how we split up the assets. If we divorce, okay, that was a real small section of it. But to stay married, here's the things that we have to do. And it's like 5 or 10 pages of shit, And so for 10 years now, we've been together. And for 10 years, we do date night once a week. For the last few years, it's been every Wednesday. And we leave at 5:30. We're home at 8 o'clock. We're old people. So it's not like a big extravaganza Friday night out till 2 a.m. type of thing, right? And that sometimes happens, But every Wednesday, most Wednesdays, I say every Wednesday, sometimes we move it to a Friday or whatever, but it's date night every week, right? If I'm not in town, we move it to another day. With the kids, Saturdays, I typically take the kids off of Amy's hands. We both work. And so we have a nanny during the week, but Amy cooks dinner and stuff like that. The nanny basically cleans the house while the kids are at school. But, she's the mom. And so on Saturdays, I take all the kids with me and give her a break for the day. Right. So I take them usually to the ranch, but I take the kids off of her hands so that they're, she gets a day to do her stuff. We do date night every week. And when we eat as a family, we do this thing called the family huddle, where everybody goes around and says their praise and prayer, like what was the best part of their day and what they need to pray for. And then I pray for all of us. And we're just having this conversation as we eat. But we've got these, much like the G code, these simple things we do: date night weekly, staying in shape at the gym, raising the kids with the family huddle according to what we agreed to do, busting our asses on our jobs. And we've been able to have an amazing marriage. I mean, I hate saying it because I feel like it's a curse for internet guys to be like, my wife and I, our marriage is great. And then a week later, like, oh, he cheated on her, or they're divorcing. And like, I feel like it's a curse to say that, but I have not met in person any couple that I think is doing a better job of being married than Amy and I. And now I know guys that are really meek and will just take it, and women that will just, but to have two alphas together that don't just take it, that are like fucking, each of them will cut each other's throat out to get what they want. I mean, we're very type A personality, me and my wife, but man, we hardly ever fight. We make it work. You know what I mean? Because we're on each other's team, because we at least had some sort of a blueprint on how we were going to do marriage. And we've stuck to that pretty well. And like I said, much like the G code, doing these little things gets that ball in the hole at the end of the course, you know?
I like it. So just small practical steps consistently over time nurtures, you know, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, right?
It never takes a NASA engineer to do this shit. It doesn't take a NASA engineer to run a business. Doesn't take a NASA engineer to have a great life. Doesn't take a NASA engineer to have a great marriage. It just takes small things done repeatedly over and over for a long time to sustain anything, really anything on this planet.
I like it. Ryan, man, I really appreciate you jumping on with me, man. I respect your time. You gave me an hour of it, so thank you so much.
I flew. I didn't realize it'd been an hour already.
Good conversation. Yeah, we just hit the hour. It's awesome. Thanks again, Ryan. And if you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, share. It's another episode of Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things.